Salut and grüß Gott, it's Peter Bradshaw here and welcome back to this review platform, pretty much offering the crisp spring onion of criticism in the tuna melt of discourse. And could I just ask, would it kill you to subscribe and leave a comment? Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey reinvents the Homeric legend as a colossal origin myth story of post-war disillusion, an epic ordeal of anguish witnessed by the dead and presided over by capricious deities who participate on almost equal terms with the humans. It speaks to the generational pain of PTSD. Plenty of soldiers come home in person after any war promptly enough, but arriving back to their pre-war state emotionally or spiritually can take years or decades and may never happen at all. The invisible odyssey of anguish is punctuated by flashback episodes, hallucinations, confrontations with the arbitrary cruel gods of dysfunction, and all the time, the spouses and children cannot move on with their lives. This film has thrilling ambition, boldness, seriousness, generosity and flair. There are some broad brush moments in the dialogue, yes, but even these are applied with a muscular flourish. It has gasp-inducing IMAX-sized landscapes of loneliness shot by cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema, who incidentally avoids the sea's traditional cliched colour, and full-tilt battle sequences and fight scenes accompanied by the throbbing and thrumming of drums.
After years of war, no one could stand between my men and home. Not even me.
Promise me you will come back.
What if I can't?
Matt Damon plays Odysseus, his boyish, almost cherubic face turned into a careworn mask of sadness. He's the military commander in Ithaca, appointed by Agamemnon, played by Benny Safdie, the king's face always mysteriously masked in a Batman-type helmet. And another echo of Nolan's previous work is possibly detectable in the troops' endless wait on the beach, as in Dunkirk. Odysseus reveals to Penelope, played by Anne Hathaway, the wife whom he is about to leave and whom he advises to remarry if he dies in battle, that the notional cause for the imminent war with Troy, the elopement of Helen, played by Lupita Nyong'o, with Trojan Prince Paris, is in fact a pretext. This is a banal commercial contest for trading routes. The Ithacans' eventual victory is achieved after a brilliant tactical deception. An elite combat unit hides cramped in a huge horse statue, which is not rolled into the fortified city on casters as a gift, but dragged into this redoubt by its own victims as a precious object from the surf, half hidden in the sand. It's a trick which involves Odysseus having to deceive his own comrade and cousin Sinon, played by Elliot Page, a blood sacrifice for which he feels unendingly guilty. Christopher Nolan therefore recreates the Trojan horse as a cross between the Statue of Liberty from Planet of the Apes and Shelley's statue of Ozymandias. The point is that the war, its supposed aims, its storied strategic success and presumed outcome are all irrelevant compared to the long, bizarre chaos of the aftermath, the giant toxic effect that follows the forgotten cause, as demoralising as a retreat that follows catastrophe. Agamemnon returns home to be killed. His brother Menelaus, played by John Bernthal, is grimly reunited with Helen, in which role Nyong'o also doubles as Agamemnon's killer Clytemnestra. Meanwhile, Odysseus and his own men, tormented and disorientated with hunger and loss, embark on their own chaotic sea journey of survival, meeting Harryhausen-type monsters like the Cyclops and the Lestrygonians, and Circe, played by Samantha Morton, Calypso, played by Charlize Theron, and the alluring sirens, but also the sorrowing goddess Athena, played by Zendaya, who is Odysseus' ally. And at home, to stall for time and contain the potentially violent power vacuum contingent on Odysseus' assumed death in battle, Penelope is forced to entertain dozens of potential marriage suitors as guests in a humiliating and continuous bacchanal of greed, of whom the most prominent is creepy Antinous, sleekly played by Robert Pattinson, who is cruel to Odysseus' blind manservant Eumaeus, an emotional, sympathetic portrayal by John Leguizamo. Odysseus' psychically wounded son Telemachus, played by Tom Holland, must now embark on his own odyssey to find his father or his father's corpse. When Odysseus has to descend into the underworld to converse with the dead, it is an unforgettably strange sequence. Nolan has the shrouded spirits hunch above ground, like the witches in Macbeth. The dead, like the gods, can be contacted on an almost level playing field. This is the bizarre pagan rule of the Odyssey, as opaque as the secular symptoms of psychological breakdown. And yet, when Odysseus finally approaches Penelope's and his house, now under brutal siege from suitors in parallel to the siege of Troy, he does so in the Christ-like disguise of a beggar. In the final movement to this story, Odysseus begins his own mysterious metamorphosis into a ruined god. One part of the Homer original which Nolan does not, in fact, include is the hero's roguish grandfather, Autolycus, who named him, and by that token gave this story its title. He called him Odysseus, meaning victim of enmity, or arguably perpetrator of enmity, perhaps the most unimprovable name an action hero can have. Vivid, elemental, existential. Odysseus is the victim of no single enmity here, except arguably that of Antinous, but enmity all round, an ecosystem of enmity, the hostile terrain through which he must pass to reach the even more hostile terrain of home. The result is a gigantic, shimmering mirage, a mysterious 3-hour vision, which does not yield up wisdom or contentment, but only a grim resolution to continue with the fight, to make sense of the ruined lives, to re-enter the scorched battlefield of loss. That brings the curtain down on this epic vlog. Please do yourselves and me a favour by giving it a like and a share. Please subscribe and leave a comment. Please also subscribe to The Guardian, because that would be a nice thing to do. And please go on the Audible app on your device or the Audible site on your laptop browser and listen to Mercy, my new Audible original audiobook drama starring the incomparable JOANNA SCANLAN. Details given below. See you next time.